Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I am a Zimbabwean woman who is currently staying here in South Africa, and I want to confess to you the things that I did. I did some money-making rituals. I was assisted by my blesser. When I met my blesser, I had no idea that my blesser, he was a ritualist. As a matter of fact, I was so excited when I met my blesser because he was someone that had money. And I told my husband that I don't care about you. You can footsake because you used to hurt me when we were in Zim. I thought that finally I had made it in life and I had now met the man of my dreams. Let me take you back when we used to stay in Zim permanently, me and my ex-husband. So I was a faithful woman to my husband. I listened to him. I did everything that he wanted me to do in time. But my husband, he was never the faithful type. My husband, he would go and he would dig up for gold. They would go to this other place that is called Mazoe, where there is a lot of gold to be found. So when he would go there, when he would come back, some of his syndicate members, you would see that they would be having money. They would buy food for their families. But my husband, he would give you money so little, so much that you would not even know what you are supposed to do with that money. As time went on, I then started to hear some rumors that my husband, all of his money, it was getting finished there by the mines, because there by the mines, there were these other ladies of the night, those that prostitute themselves. So they would wait for people like my husband who love women, and when they have money, then they would go and seduce those men, and my husband will always fall for that trap, and he would give that woman a lot of money. And when he would return back home, if I would confront him, he would beat the hell out of me, saying, why are you asking me all of those stupid questions? So it was a very difficult period for me. I do not want to lie, knowing that your husband, this is what he is doing, and he has no intentions whatsoever of ever changing his ways. So later on, I then started to notice that whenever I would sleep with my husband, my private part will get itching. When I would go to the doctor, I would be told that you have an STI, and still my husband, you would find a reason to beat me up simply because another woman would have given him an STI. So he traumatized me for a very long time. And then I told him that I had a friend of mine who had told me that there was this other person who was looking for a maid, and if I wanted that job, I should come to South Africa. Life being difficult in Zim, my husband, he agreed. We then migrated and we came to South Africa. When we came to South Africa, we started working. We were staying in the location. Then as time went on, I saw that me and my husband, the life that we were living is like we were not even going anywhere at all. That was when I met this blesser through a friend. When I met the blesser, he started blessing me with his money and showering me with his love. And then my husband, he caught me one day. I was getting into the blesser's car. He tried to jump in front of the vehicle, and I told him he can go to hell. He even threatened me, and he said that he was going to drink poison. I laughed at him and I said that if you die, your family, they are the ones that are going to bury you, not me. So you can do whatever that you want. So he did not drink that poison. I started to stay with that blesser permanently, but we were not staying in the same house. The blesser that I was dating, he had his own mansion, but he was renting out a place for me somewhere else. And as a woman who was being treated nice, being given money by the man that she now loved, I then said, maybe this man, he is sleeping around with other women. That is why he does not want me at his mansion. So when I went to his house one day, I then stole the keys and I rushed to the mall. I went to those people that can get you a copy of the key, and they did their job and they gave me a copy of the key, and I just kept quiet. He then went on a business trip to Cape Town. I drove at that time. He had already bought a car for me, and the security at the gate, they knew that I was the girlfriend, so they would not even ask me when I drive in. So I then drove in and I went to his house. I opened the mansion and I went straight upstairs because as a woman, I had this gut feeling that in the bedroom, I'm going to find some evidence that he sleeps around with other women. When I got into the bedroom, I started searching in the wardrobe. Little did I know that this guy, he was a ritualist. So as I was fighting with the wardrobe, opening the doors, looking for any kind of evidence that the guy was cheating on me, I then reached this other drawer. And then when I tried to open it and I then saw that the drawer, it was locked. And I said, God, where am I going to get this spare key now? This is where the evidence is waiting for me. And I tried to get those keys. And then all of a sudden, that was when my blesser appeared in the bedroom. I screamed because I panicked and I knew that my blesser, he was in Cape Town. I had spoken with him with a video call because I wanted to make sure that he was in Cape Town, and he told me that he was rushing into a meeting. We were going to talk soon after that. And then I said, what happened? I thought that you are in Cape Town. What are you doing here? He then told me that he was going to tell me everything, but I was not supposed to open to keep on playing around with the wardrobe. And I said, why not? Are you hiding something? He then told me that there was a human head that was inside that drawer that I wanted to open, and he disappeared. I collapsed, and the next thing that happened when I woke up, I was no longer in his mansion, but I was sleeping in my bed at the apartment where he was renting out for me. So I could not understand what had happened. He then returned back to Johannesburg from Cape Town. He came straight to the apartment where he was renting out for me, and he told me his story. He told me that he had sacrificed his balls, and I could not understand. He said, these balls that you are looking at, they are not even there. I sacrificed my semen and my balls to the Nigerians, and I am going to speak with them. Now that you know more about me, I'm going to talk with them so that I can hear if they will be able to also accept you so that you can also become a ritualist. It took him about 3 weeks while he was speaking with the Nigerians. We then went to this other house in Santon where I ended up selling my womb. When we arrived there, then they took me and they gave me a white cloth and they told me to strip myself naked. I removed everything. I then put on that white cloth and then they made me to sleep on top of this other table. It was more like an altar. They took eggs and they told me to open up my legs. So they put those eggs in a row right next to my private parts. And what they were doing is that they would lift one egg, and then when that egg would come into contact with my private part, they would put it in another clay pot until those eggs that they had lined up in a row that was in between my legs were finished. After that was done, another Nigerian came with 12 eggs. They put 6 eggs on my left side and 6 more eggs on my right side, and then they started to press the eggs on my belly button. I started to feel some movements that were happening in my womb, and I was taken again into another room. I was told that I was being strengthened. After that, that was when I started to have a vision. In this vision, I saw that I was with my mother and I was back in Zim, and I was feeling so much pain. And my mother then said that since I was in pain, she wanted me to go and have an operation. So she took me to a hospital. While we were waiting to go into theater, I saw some Nigerians and I was scared because these Nigerians, they were there to threaten my mother. And my mother, she did not even know that her life was in danger. I then said to my mom, "Mom, you need to run away. Go as far as you can from me as possible, because these people, they are going to hurt you. They want to take your life." And my mother then said, "It really does not matter. I was with you when you were born, and I can be with you, and I want you to be with me when I die." So my mom then took me to the operating room where I saw some Nigerians that were waiting. They put me on the bed and they started to cut my stomach open. They did not give me any injection, anything, but I did not feel any pain. They started to remove my intestines until they took out my uterus, and then everything just vanished. I then found myself back in that room, and I saw that all the Nigerians that had been doing those rituals, they were now naked, and everyone was holding his manhood. They were busy masturbating, and they ejaculated on top of my stomach, and I was told that it was done. They told me to get off from the bed. When I tried to do that, I fell down, and I was told that I was not yet healed. That was when I touched my stomach, and I saw that I had some stitches on my stomach. Someone had opened me up while least I was in a coma. I was taken to my boyfriend's place where I stayed until I was okay. And then my mom was said to be the one who was going to be a sacrifice, because when I had a vision, I saw my mom. So if you see any person in a vision when you are doing those type of rituals, that is the person that you are supposed to sacrifice. My mother, she died. After my mom had passed away, there was some money that was given to me. I was then told that I was supposed to go to Zim to bury my mother, in which I did. I buried my mother, my brother, and then I returned back to South Africa, and I started to have my own businesses that I was running. So the only challenge that I'm facing in my life, it is that I'm someone that is very suicidal. That is what has brought me here. I have depression. I'm always depressed at all the times, and I made a mistake by taking alcohol to fix all these problems that I have. When I have stress, I'll take alcohol thinking that it will make me to feel better. Now I am totally addicted to alcohol. As I'm speaking with you, I am on my way going to a liquor store so that I can buy some alcohol, because I looked in my fridge. I don't have anything anymore. And when I do not drink for a certain period of time, I'll start to shake so bad, so much that I won't be able to do anything. I know that what I did was very wrong. I know that your people are going to judge me. But as someone that is addicted to alcohol, I am asking for help. How do I handle this situation now that I am addicted to alcohol? Please help me without judging me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Then there is another message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister as well. The message that she sent to me, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? As a woman, I am in pain because of the things that me and my husband had to go through after we had bought our taxi. We said if we can buy a taxi, then we go back home and we can live our lives being in our own country. And when we finally got the money, I told my husband that instead of us buying a taxi, we should buy even a stand, then we start to build our own house. Because growing up, my mom, she used to tell me that when you have people from your village or of your relatives who want to bewitch you, they can't bewitch you like if you do not have anything. And if you buy a car, it is easy for those people to bewitch you. And she used to tell me these things when we were still growing up, but I never believed that witches are for real. But my brother, what happened when we bought our taxi, I will never forget. So after raising the money, we then went back home. My husband then told me that there was no need to buy a stand so that we can start building, but we were supposed to invest. We bought that taxi. It was in good condition. We then spoke with my husband's uncle, who was an experienced taxi driver. And we said that if we can do this as a family, we are going to achieve a lot. He even gave us calculations, and he said within 4 months, you'll be able to buy your second taxi. And we're so excited, and we thought that we'll never return back to South Africa to look for work. We thought that now we were going to become business people. The very first day when our uncle got onto the taxi and went to work, when he was in the taxi rank, that was when he called us. We asked him what was wrong. He then told us that he had bumped into this other woman, and he was at the police station, at Central Police Station in Harare, and he wanted us to come because they were about to get him into the police cell. So then we rushed there, me and my husband. We only had $100. That was all that we had left. And then that woman then said that she did not want to open a case against the driver, but she wanted money. She wanted cash, which was $200. And we could not afford to give that woman the money. So the police then said, this is what we are going to do. This woman, she is going to move around with your driver and collecting the money. That was the most painful thing that had ever happened to me, knowing that there is someone else who never contributed when you bought the taxi. Now that person would be moving around with the taxi driver. Each and every person that would have paid for the taxi, she would be the one that will be collecting the money, because the police, they also wanted something so that they won't arrest our uncle. And this happened for a couple of days. After that, that was when the taxi started to give us a lot of problems. Each and every call from our uncle, it was something that had to do with the taxi not working really well. It even reached a point whereby we were so much traumatized, we were even scared to answer the call whenever our uncle would call us. So our uncle then gave the taxi to one of his friends who was also a taxi driver. We then found out, we then went and we took the taxi from that person, because that was not the agreement that we had with our uncle. Then my husband, when he tried to test the taxi, he only started the car, and then there was an explosion in the engine. We then called a mechanic. That mechanic came and he told us the engine was too much damaged. It was supposed to be taken back to engineering, or rather we were supposed to buy a new engine. We then asked him how much was it going to cost us. That man, he told us a lot of money that we will never be able to afford. To this very day, the taxi that we bought, it did not even last 1 month. We never ate any single cent from that taxi when it was working, fetching people, going to town and coming back for nothing. It hurts me to this very day. I am working as a maid. My husband is working as a gardener. To be able to raise so much money ever again here in South Africa, I don't think that it is ever going to be possible. What happened is that me and my husband, we just got the money that we had saved. We went back home and we went and we threw the money into the toilet. It still hurts me to this very day. That taxi, it is back home. We even tried to sell the taxi. The guy that wanted to buy the taxi, the money that he was offering us, it was close to nothing, only $300 for an entire taxi that has everything. Only the engine is damaged. He only wanted to give us $300. And whenever we try to sell this taxi, it is like we are the ones that are so desperate, and the person that wants to buy the taxi, it will be like he is just doing you a favor. So this is my own story. I am full of regret. Most of the times when I am at work, sometimes I even cry when I think about the way that we lost so much money in a single month because we wanted to become business people. So I just want to urge other people out there, if you are working, when you save money, the first thing that you do, try to build a house. A house is better. Even if they bewitch you, they will never bewitch the house. Even if you die, your kids will have somewhere to stay. But as for a car, as my mother told me, it is easy for a witch to bewitch you. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Did it ever happen to you when you tried to start your own business? If so, you can come to our inbox and then you can share with us your own side of the story.